Have you ever imagined a way to beat your opponent without having to fight? Well, that's exactly what the teachings of Marcus Aurelius, one of the great Stoic philosophers of ancient Rome, reveal to us. Imagine yourself in an arena where the battle is not physical, but one of strategy and wisdom. Marcus Aurelius, known for his calm and rationality, offers us 3 powerful Stoic strategies for facing our enemies in a way that challenges even the bravest warrior. Imagine an ancient warrior, not only armed with sword and shield, but also with a mind as sharp as a blade. Marco Aurelio believed that the true enemy is not always in front of us, but often within ourselves, in our fears and hesitations. He taught that courage is not just in facing danger, but in mastering our own thoughts and emotions. Now imagine a wise strategist, drawing up his plans not with war cries, but with profound serenity. Marcus Aurelius reminds us that true victory lies in understanding that our enemies are often reflections of our own desires and expectations. By learning to accept what we cannot change and to act with virtue, we gain an inner peace that no external conflict can disturb. Imagine, finally, a philosopher whose words span the centuries to remind us that true strength lies in our ability to transform challenges into opportunities for growth. Marcus Aurelius invites us to face our adversaries not with hatred or violence, but with compassion and wisdom. For by understanding and mastering our own emotions, we become invincible, not by the power of force, but by the force of knowledge and self-discipline. So if you're ready to discover how to defeat your enemies without even having to fight them, join us as we explore 3 profoundly powerful Stoic strategies inspired by the timeless teachings of Marcus Aurelius. Number 1. Delve into the depths of your opponent. Let's imagine a common situation. You are in a heated argument, feeling like you are about to explode. We've all been there, whether it's arguing with a coworker, fighting with a friend, or even in a fierce debate on the internet. Now, what if I told you that there is a way to resolve these conflicts without resorting to fighting? The ancient masters of Stoicism, such as Seneca, Epictetus, and Marcus Aurelius, knew very well how to control their emotions and remain calm. They had incredible strategies for facing conflicts with grace and balance. Let's explore how they did this through a story. Imagine that you are on the edge of a very rough river. The waters are furious, foaming and roaring. The temptation to jump in and face the river head-on is great, but a wise Stoic would stop first, take a deep breath, and look into the depths beneath the turbulent surface. He would try to understand what was really going on down there. In a fight, it's the same thing. Instead of reacting impulsively, the first step is to stop and try to understand what the other person is really thinking and feeling. Epictetus reminds us that it is not the event itself that bothers us, but our perception of it. Here's what you can do. Take a step back. Imagine you are an outside observer, like a fly on the wall. Stop, take a deep breath, and observe the situation impartially. This will help you see everything more clearly and calmly. For example, imagine that you are arguing with your brother about something silly, like who left the dirty dishes in the sink. Instead of shouting back, imagine yourself as a silent observer. View the scene objectively and try to understand what is really happening. Ask sincere questions. Instead of responding with arguments, ask questions to better understand what's behind the other person's words. Questions like, "What brought you to this point?" or "What are your concerns?" can reveal a lot. Think about a time when you argued with a friend about weekend plans. Instead of insisting on your idea, ask him why he prefers another option. Maybe he has an important reason that you didn't know about. Try to see it from their point of view. Put yourself in the other person's shoes. What are they feeling? What motivates them? This doesn't mean agreeing with them, but understanding their perspective. If you're arguing with a coworker about approaching a project, try to imagine how they view the situation. Perhaps he has pressures or responsibilities that you are not aware of. Look for deeper problems. Conflicts often arise from deeper issues, such as unfulfilled desires or fears. Try to identify these deeper feelings. For example, an argument with your partner about finances may actually be linked to deeper concerns about security and the future. By understanding these fears, you can approach the situation with more empathy and find a more satisfying solution. Turning conflict into understanding. When you practice these Stoic techniques, an argument that felt like a raging river can turn into a calm flow of understanding and resolution. You will see that true victory is not in winning the fight, but in mastering your own mind and heart. So, are you ready to learn how to handle conflict like a true Stoic? Remember, the greatest victory is not in winning fights, but in mastering your own mind and heart. Subscribe to the channel and ring the bell to receive more tips on how to face life's challenges with the timeless wisdom of Stoicism. Together, we will learn to navigate the turbulent waters of conflict with the calm and wisdom of ancient philosophers. Number 2. Choose your battles wisely. Let's imagine you are on a giant battlefield. Every discussion, every disagreement is like a potential conflict in this field. But what if I told you that you don't need to fight every battle? The ancient masters of Stoicism, like Seneca, Epictetus, and Marcus Aurelius, had a brilliant tip: choose your battles wisely. Let's explore this idea in a little more detail and anecdote to make everything clearer. The Seneca test. Take a break. Imagine that you are playing football with your friends and someone accidentally pushes you. You get angry, but then you remember Seneca's words, "The best medicine for anger is delay." So, instead of yelling back, you take a moment. Take a deep breath and count to 10. When you do this, you start to realize that maybe it wasn't on purpose and that it's not worth ruining the game over it. This time to breathe helps you see the situation more clearly and avoid an unnecessary fight. Epictetus question: is it really important? Now, imagine that you are arguing with your brother about who will wash the dishes. Epictetus said that it is not the event itself that stresses us, but how we see it. So before you continue the argument, ask yourself, is this really important to me? Is this argument affecting my health, well-being, or something very important in my life, or is it just a minor irritation? If it's just a small thing, it might not be worth fighting over. You may realize that washing the dishes is not that important and can be resolved in a calm way, without fights. Marcus Aurelius principle: the power of silence. Imagine you are at school and someone makes a silly comment about you. Marco Aurelio teaches us that, sometimes, the best thing to do is to remain silent. Ignoring small offenses or choosing not to get into unnecessary arguments can be a powerful way to maintain calm and inner peace. Instead of responding to the silly comment, you choose to stay silent and move on. This shows that you are strong and don't let small provocations affect you. Stoicism cost-benefit analysis. Is it worth it? Now, think about a situation where you and your best friend are arguing about where to go for the weekend. Before you get into a fight, think, is this argument worth the emotional and mental effort? Do the rewards of winning this fight justify the cost? Sometimes true strength is knowing when to let go. You may decide that, in the grand scheme of things, it's not worth fighting about and that the important thing is to maintain the friendship. Applying Stoicism to life. By applying these Stoic principles, you can choose your battles better. It doesn't mean you are weak or don't care. It means you know your time and energy are precious and you use them wisely. By doing this, you navigate through life more calmly and focused on what really matters. So the next time you find yourself in conflict, remember these Stoic tips. Choose your battles carefully and save your strength for the moments that really matter. After all, true victory lies in mastering your own mind and heart. Number 3. Speak calmly and clearly. Speak calmly and clearly. Imagine yourself in a great battle, but instead of swords and shields, you have only your words. Ancient Stoics, like Seneca, knew the importance of speaking calmly and clearly. This is what turns arguments into productive conversations and helps reduce anger. Let's see how to do this in a simple and effective way. Actively listen. Once upon a time, in a small village, there was a young man named Lucas who always wanted to have the last word in any argument. One day, his grandfather, a wise man, said, "Lucas, I want to tell a story about a great warrior. This warrior, instead of using his sword, used his ears to win battles." The grandfather explained that the warrior always paid close attention to what the other person was saying, listening to both the words and the facial expressions and body language. "Don't interrupt, Lucas," said his grandfather. "Nod your head and maintain eye contact. This shows you care and want to understand." Lucas tried this the next time he argued with a friend. Instead of waiting for his turn to speak, he listened intently, and to his surprise, the discussion went much more smoothly. Respect and validate emotions. Lucas continued to learn from his grandfather. "The other day," Grandpa said, "let's imagine you're listening to your best friend tell you about a difficult day. Even if you don't agree with everything, it's important to acknowledge his feelings. Say things like, 'I understand you're frustrated,' or 'It feels like this is important to you.' This helps create a connection and reduces tension." Lucas tried this when his friend was sad about not being picked for the football team. "I understand you're upset," Lucas said. His friend calmed down and thanked him for being understood. Use personal statements. Imagine you are explaining how you feel about something important, Grandfather said one day as they walked through the woods. Instead of blaming, talk about how you feel. Use phrases like, "I feel hurt when this happens," or "I need to feel respected in this situation." This prevents the other person from feeling attacked and promotes a more friendly. Lucas remembered this the next time he argued with his sister. Instead of saying, "You always do this," he said, I feel sad when you don't share it with me." His sister, touched by Lucas's sincerity, apologized and promised to share more. "Speak firmly and calmly. Lucas, imagine that you are a calm leader in the midst of chaos," taught his grandfather. "When speaking, maintain a calm and confident tone. Avoid shouting or using insults, as this will only make the situation worse. Speak in a way that ensures you understand the situation, not because you are angry." Lucas practiced this when his team was losing a game. He spoke calmly, encouraging his friends and keeping morale high, which helped the team focus and improve. "Seek solutions, not victories." "Remember, Lucas," said grandfather, "the goal is to find a solution that benefits both of you, not to win the argument. Imagine you are working as a team to solve a puzzle. Start the conversation with a question like, 'What can we do to solve this together?' and stay focused on cooperation." Lucas applied this when arguing with a classmate about a school project. Instead of insisting which idea was better, he asked, "How can we combine our ideas to make something amazing?" They worked together and created a project they were both proud of. Practice patience. Lastly, Grandpa reminded Lucas to practice patience. Practicing calm, clarity, and patience is a skill, like learning to ride a bicycle. At first, it may be difficult and you may fall a few times. But with practice, it gets easier. If you make a mistake, apologize and be patient with yourself. The more you practice positive communication, the easier it will be to deal with difficult situations. Lucas knew he was on the right path. Each time he applied these principles, he found that fights and arguments became less scary and more like challenges he could solve. Applying Stoicism to life. Let's imagine that Lucas is having a difficult conversation with a classmate at school. Instead of giving in to anger, he decides to apply Stoic principles. Actively listen. While his colleague speaks, Lucas listens carefully, nodding his head and showing that he is interested in what he says. Respect and validate emotions. Lucas acknowledges his colleague's feelings, saying, "I understand that this made you upset." Use personal statements. Luke expresses his feelings calmly, saying, "I feel uncomfortable when this happens." Speak firmly and calmly. Lucas remains calm, speaks clearly, and avoids insults. Seek solutions, not victories. Lucas suggests finding a solution together, asking, "How can we solve this together?" A practical example. Imagine that Lucas is playing a game with a friend and he starts to get angry because he lost. Instead of fighting, Lucas, listen to what your friend has to say about the game. Says, "I understand you're frustrated." Explains, "I feel sad when we fight over a game." He speaks calmly and suggests, "Let's think about how we can have fun together, even when someone loses." Practicing these techniques makes fights feel less scary and more like challenges you can solve together. By applying these Stoic principles, Luke turns potential conflicts into opportunities to grow and learn. Thus, through the lessons of his grandfather and the ancient Stoics, Lucas learns to navigate difficulties with wisdom and calm, transforming conflicts into opportunities for connection and growth. Number 4. Seek the shared path. Once upon a time there were two friends, João and Pedro, who decided to climb different mountains. At first, It seemed like they were on completely separate paths. John was climbing a mountain full of rocks, while Peter was climbing a mountain with lots of bushes. However, as they climbed, they began to notice their paths getting closer, and at the top, the trails joined together. Up there, the view was simply incredible, and the two friends realized that, despite their differences, they were going to the same place. This image is like the idea of finding a shared road in our discussions, something the Stoics valued highly. They teach us that even when it seems like we are at odds, we must look deeper and find what unites us. Once, João and Pedro were building a sandcastle on the beach. John wanted to make a tall tower, while Peter wanted to dig a moat around it. At first, they started arguing about how to make the castle. But then they remembered what the Stoics taught. Instead of thinking about I and you, we should think about us. They realized that if they worked together, they could create something truly beautiful. Instead of seeing the argument as a fight, they began to see it as an opportunity to achieve a common goal. In the end, they built a castle with a tall tower and a moat around it, and they were very happy with the result. Often, our conflicts come from unmet needs, such as the need for security, respect, or approval. Imagine a dog barking. He may be scared or wanting attention. When we understand these needs, it becomes easier to have empathy and find solutions that work for everyone. João and Pedro realized that when they were upset with each other, it was because they felt that their ideas were not being respected. Upon understanding this, they began to talk more openly about their feelings, which helped them resolve conflicts more amicably. Our values guide our actions. One day, João and Pedro were playing puzzles. At first, they were frustrated because they couldn't find the right parts. But they remembered that if they looked beyond the specific problem and focused on the values they share, such as honesty and fairness, they could find a solution together. They started working as a team, finding little pieces that fit together. These small victories built trust between them and made it easier to solve bigger problems. João and Pedro learned that life is a journey, not a destination. Finding common ground can take time, so it's important to be patient and understanding. They began to appreciate achievements, accept failures, and remember that every step toward cooperation is a step away from confrontation. In the end, João and Pedro realized that by seeing the connections between their experiences and establishing a solid foundation of understanding, they had built a more peaceful future together. Just as when they climbed the mountain and reached the summit together, guided by the same ideals and interests, they discovered the power of understanding and harmony. Number 5. Appeal to your inner values. Imagine an enormous oak tree, its roots firmly gripping the ground. To move this oak, brute force alone would not be enough. A wise Stoic knows the subtle influence of elements like wind and water, which can gently direct something in the right direction. This metaphor shows how the Stoics use internal ideals to resolve disputes intelligently and peacefully. Instead of focusing only on surface appearances, the Stoics teach us to explore the rich soil of people's values and ideas. Understanding and respecting these internal values helps us find solutions that are aligned with our core beliefs, resulting in sincere and lasting agreements. To begin your Stoic journey toward values-based persuasion, follow these steps. Imagine yourself as a valuable archaeologist, conducting research before formulating your argument. Discover what principles guide the other person, what values shape their behavior. Observe carefully what they say, do, and value. This helps you create a map of their values and find possible connections. Identify common values. Don't assume that your values are completely opposite to theirs. Look for ideals that can be shared, even if they don't seem to fit at first glance. Once you clearly understand the other person's values, adjust your message to be consistent with those values. Don't try to trick them. Express your interests and concerns in a way that resonates with their values, thus creating common ground. Show, don't just tell. Demonstrate how your solution embodies their values. Use specific examples or past stories that show how your strategy aligns with the core principles they value. Always remember mutual respect. Seek understanding, not domination. Be respectful and understanding throughout the process. The goal is not to control or dominate, but rather to find a solution that addresses both parties' concerns based on shared values. Using this Stoic technique, you become a skilled navigator, leading your interlocutor to a place where they can genuinely believe in the proposed solution. This is not about forcing your will, but about finding a way to respect and understand the values that shape each person's identity. This approach develops mutual respect, understanding, and paves the way for win-win solutions for everyone involved. Number 6. Using humor wisely in conflicts. Imagine yourself walking on a tightrope over an open hole. One small mistake and you could fall. But also imagine that you have a balancing rod, humor. Using humor to solve problems is like using that magic stick. Think of a well-told joke at the right time. It can make tension disappear like magic, creating a more open atmosphere for conversation. But be careful. As the Stoic philosopher Senna said, a joke can be like a fragile thing. It can turn into something bad if not used carefully. Here are some tips for using humor intelligently. Know your audience. Not everyone finds the same things funny. Think about the type of humor your friend or opponent would like before making a joke. Avoid sensitive topics. Be careful when choosing what to joke about. Some things can hurt other people's feelings. Don't use humor to hurt. Jokes that make you laugh at yourself show humility. This is better than jokes that hurt someone's feelings. Choose the right moment. If the situation is very tense, it may be better to wait before making a joke. Humor can help, but only if it is used at the right time. Don't rely on humor alone. Laughter can be great for helping solve problems, but it's not a magic solution. Honest communication is still the key to resolving important issues. With these Stoic ideas, humor can become a powerful tool for building friendships, relieving stress, and resolving conflict. Instead of just being a dangerous tightrope walk, humor can be like a bridge that brings people together. Number 7. Offer empathy. Imagine you are on a mountain trail full of rocks and you look at your climbing friend on the other side, appearing to be heading in the opposite direction. You get upset and angry, like a windstorm in the valley. But rather than shouting or arguing, the Stoic approach would be to step down a little, bridge the gap, and reach out with understanding. This is the heart of the 7th strategy. The power of empathy. Empathy means understanding and feeling what the other person is going through. It's like philosopher Marcus Aurelius' advice for creating true connections even during difficult discussions. Here's how you can develop this superpower of Stoicism. First, shift your focus from me to them. See the world through someone else's eyes. Try to understand what might be making them feel the way they do, what life experiences have influenced their emotions, and what concerns might be motivating them. Pay attention not only to what they say, but also to what they don't say. Body language, tone of voice, and facial expressions can reveal much more than words. Listen actively without judging. Acknowledge your feelings, even if you disagree. Saying things like, "I understand why this is important to you," or "It sounds like you're feeling frustrated," shows that you're there for them. Try to understand the pain hidden behind the anger or irritation. Often these feelings come from deeper emotional wounds. When you understand this, you can address the root cause of the problem, not just the symptoms. Remember, empathy does not mean agreeing or giving up your principles. It's about creating an environment where sincere dialogue can happen. You can handle disagreements in a dignified and understanding manner, building a bridge of understanding. When you embrace this Stoic concept of empathy, you are not only solving an immediate problem, but also building a foundation for a better relationship in the future. So come down from the mountain, reach out and give the gift of empathy. Together, you can embark on an unexpected journey of understanding and harmony. Number 8. Embrace the art of compromise. Imagine you are standing in front of a majestic pine tree, its branches gently swaying in the wind. It may seem like you need a lot of force to make the pine tree bend the way you want, but this could hurt both the tree and you. A wiser strategy, based on Stoic philosophy, is to learn the art of compromise. Compromise means bending and adapting to find a way for the wind and the pine to coexist peacefully. Having rigid and absolute views usually doesn't help solve problems. As Epictetus said, we should not insist that things happen exactly as we want, but rather learn to live at peace with how they happen. Here is how you can practice this Stoic art. First, shift your focus from me to we. View the problem as an opportunity to find a solution that works for everyone, rather than a battle of wills. This can lead to more harmonious and creative results in problem solving. Identify common goals. Look for something you both value, even if it's not obvious at first. Maybe you both want fairness, respect, or a productive work environment. Finding these common goals is essential to reaching an agreement. Set priorities. Decide what is most important to you and be prepared to compromise on less crucial things. This helps you focus on finding solutions that address the main problems of both. Look for a win-win solution. Instead of focusing on a win for one side, look for a solution where everyone feels that their needs are understood and met in some way in the long term. This helps reduce conflict and promotes a sense of fairness. Remember that life is a journey and not just a destination. Patience and flexibility are essential. Commitments are not definitive. Be open to reviewing the agreement if circumstances change. Adopting the Stoic art of compromise does not mean weakening your principles, but rather showing strength through adaptability and dedication to finding solutions that work for everyone. This creates a dynamic balance, like the wind and the pine tree, benefiting everyone and bringing a calmer, more harmonious end to conflicts. Number 9. Seek outside help without shame. Imagine yourself entangled in a tangle of thorns, the branches blocking your path as they twist and turn. No matter how hard you try, advancement seems unattainable. This feeling often feels like being stuck in a fight where communication has broken down and a solution seems impossible. However, the Stoics remind us that we are not alone, especially in these difficult situations. The 9th strategy emphasizes seeking outside help as proof of our dedication to finding a positive path forward, not as a sign of weakness. A mediator or counselor, for example, can act as an impartial third party to help navigate the complex maze of conflict, just as a Stoic teacher guides his students toward understanding. They provide a controlled environment for discussion, ensuring that each side is heard and respected. These experts can be helpful in untangling emotional knots that complicate communication, allowing you and the other party to understand each other better. They promote a relaxed and productive conversational atmosphere, helping to overcome barriers and build bridges of understanding. Counselors and mediators are trained to recognize and resolve conflicts, promoting empathy and reducing defenses. They facilitate discussions that lead to constructive solutions, ensuring that all concerns are considered and that both sides work together to find answers. By seeking help, you are strengthening your position, not demonstrating weakness. According to Stoic philosophy, asking for help is a sign of wisdom, not weakness. It shows that you are committed to finding a solution that works for everyone, investing in the development and success of the partnership. By turning to outside assistance, you can leverage the knowledge and experience of others to navigate the complex maze of conflicts and reach a peaceful, constructive conclusion. Remember that reaching out for help every now and then can illuminate the path ahead and remind you that you are not alone, even in the most challenging circumstances. Number 10. Forgiveness. Imagine yourself stuck to a huge rock, its mass pulling you down while its sharp edges bruise your skin. That weight that keeps you stuck in the past is resentment, and forgiveness is like a powerful gift that Stoic philosophy offers to release those ties. Forgiveness does not justify what happened in the past or the other person's behavior. As Seneca reminds us, those who hold resentment live with a wound that is always open. Instead, forgiveness is a conscious choice to let go of the feelings that hold you back so you can move forward with clarity and peace of mind. Here are some ways to begin this liberating journey. Shift their focus to you. Recognize how resentment affects your mental health, draining your energy and damaging your happiness. Choose to put your well-being first by choosing forgiveness. Understand different perspectives. Sometimes forgiving involves understanding the other person's background and intentions without justifying their actions. This can increase empathy and reduce the emotional impact of the situation. Let go, but remember the lessons. Forgiving does not mean forgetting the past, but rather releasing the negative feelings that weigh you down, such as resentment and hatred. Learn from the past, but don't let it control your present. Practice active forgiveness. It is an ongoing process that requires constant effort. Engage in practices like journaling, mindfulness, and meditation to help let go of negative thoughts and feelings when they arise. Forgive yourself. Accepting spiritual forgiveness allows you to change your present and create space for a better future. Free yourself from the bonds of bitterness and anger by choosing a path of peace and self-compassion. Remember, Forgiving is not a sign of weakness, but rather of strength and dedication to your own well-being. Exhale deeply, leave the weight of resentment behind, and move forward to a future that offers more freedom and inner serenity. Number 11. Ash growth. Imagine a majestic phoenix with its red-orange feathers shining in the sun. It flies high, crossing vast skies, a symbol of rebirth and resilience. But it was not always so. There was a time when this phoenix faced a terrible challenge. A devastating fire consumed her former home, leaving her injured and disoriented. At first, she felt lost in the ashes of destruction, unable to imagine a new beginning. However, over time, something inside her began to change. The phoenix, guided by Stoic ancient wisdom, decided to use this tragedy as an opportunity to grow. She adopted a learning attitude, looking at the wreckage not as an end but as the beginning of something new and challenging. Every flame that had burned her now served as a powerful reminder of her own inner strength. Changing his mindset, the phoenix transformed fear into courage, seeing conflict as a chance to overcome himself. She took a deep dive into analyzing her own actions during the fire. How did she react to the flames? What principles were tested? Did her feelings of pain and loss influence her decisions? With honesty with herself, the phoenix faced her vulnerabilities. She recognized how certain habits and reactions had put her in danger during the disaster. It was time to transform reflections into concrete actions. She identified areas for improvement, being more agile in the face of danger, adapting to sudden changes, and finding new ways to protect her nest. But even the strongest phoenix knows when to ask for help. She sought out wise mentors whose experience and guidance helped her develop new skills. She learned to listen actively, practice mindfulness to control her emotions during crises, and explore ancient emotional healing techniques. As the phoenix dedicated herself to her personal growth, she discovered that the process was like a gradual flight to inner peace and self-understanding. Each small achievement was celebrated as a step towards complete rebirth. Just like the phoenix, you too can turn your own challenges into opportunities. Don't fear moments of conflict, but see them as stepping stones to a new understanding of yourself and the world around you. With courage and patience, you will emerge from the ashes, stronger, wiser, and ready to face any challenge the future may bring. Number 12. Setting limits. Imagine yourself on the beach at dawn, where the sun begins to gently illuminate the horizon. You walk along the soft sand, feeling the cool sea breeze and hearing the comforting sound of the waves crashing at your feet. Every step brings a feeling of peace and serenity, as if the world is in perfect harmony around you. But suddenly, his tranquility is interrupted. A person approaches quickly, invading your personal space with gestures and words that disturb your inner peace. You feel uncomfortable, perhaps even a little vulnerable in the face of this unexpected intrusion. This is when the 12th Stoic technique reveals itself as a powerful tool. She teaches you not only how to navigate interactions, but also how to strengthen your ability to set clear boundaries and protect your emotional well-being. It's not so much what happens externally that upsets us, but rather how we choose to respond to these challenging situations. Epicurus, the Stoic philosopher, reminds us that although we have no control over the actions of others, we can control our own reactions. This starts with a deep understanding of our internal compass, our needs, values, and what is truly important to us. It's as if we were drawing an emotional map to know where to place our limits. Establishing these boundaries is not just a matter of self-protection, but also clear and respectful communication. It's like erecting an invisible fence around our emotional space, using direct, assertive words to express our desires and feelings without building walls that keep others away. Being consistent in this process is crucial. Just like a beacon that shines unwaveringly in the darkness, once established, our boundaries must be held firmly. This does not mean being inflexible, but rather not giving in to guilt or making exceptions that compromise our well-being. Naturally, not everyone will respond well to our limits. Some may resist or not immediately understand its importance. Gently educating these people about the meaning and need to respect our emotional boundaries is an integral part of this self-care process. Always remember, setting limits is not an act of selfishness, but of self-love. It is a necessary step to protect our mental and emotional health, in line with the desire to live with a joyful heart and a grateful attitude, as taught by Seneca and other Stoic philosophers. By adopting this philosophy in our lives, we build more than limits. We create spaces of inner freedom, mutual respect, and tranquility. Instead of building walls that isolate us, we transform our relationships, guiding them towards more authentic communication and more satisfying relationships. Number 13. Remember that you control your reactions. Imagine yourself in a raging storm, where the wind blows hard, causing the trees to bend and the rain to fall in torrents around you. You are in the midst of this force of nature, feeling the power and unpredictability all around you. It's as if the world is challenging your limits, testing your courage and ability to respond. In this turbulent scenario, you realize something crucial. Even in the face of the fury of the storm, there is something you can firmly control: your own reactions. This is the essence of the 13th Stoic strategy, which teaches us not to be dominated by external events, but rather to dominate our own mind and emotions. The Stoics remind us that true strength comes from within, not from trying to control the world around us. Epicurus asserted that true courage lies in mastering our inner world, rather than trying to impose our will on the outer world. So how do you develop this superpower of Stoicism in the midst of the storm? First, it's crucial to identify your emotional triggers. Reflect on what situations or words usually provoke an intense response in you. Recognizing these sensitive points is the first step to starting to control them. When those challenging moments arise, take a deep breath. Give yourself a moment to pause before acting impulsively. This pause creates space between what's happening around you and how you choose to respond, allowing for more considered decisions that are less influenced by the heat of the moment. Changing your perspective is also essential. Try to see the situation from different angles. Sometimes our reactions are more influenced by our interpretation than by the situation itself. Questioning your automatic beliefs can pave the way for finding new ways to deal with challenges and conflicts. Choose your answers wisely. Avoid impulsive and hasty reactions. Instead, wait until you are calm and composed. This not only helps you avoid responses that could make the situation worse, but it also allows you to maintain emotional control, which is essential in moments of tension. Practice, practice, and practice some more. Learning to control your reactions is not something that can be mastered quickly. Just like any valuable skill, it requires consistent practice. Try different approaches to challenging situations to strengthen your emotional resilience and improve your self-control over time. By incorporating these Stoic techniques, you not only become stronger, but you also discover true calm in the eye of the storm. Facing life's challenges with courage and inner balance is a real test of strength and wisdom. Remember, true triumph is not in overcoming external adversaries, but in mastering your own feelings and becoming a more confident and resilient version of yourself. So stay calm under pressure, make thoughtful decisions, and face life's obstacles with the wisdom of a wise Stoic. These techniques not only transform moments of conflict into opportunities for personal growth, but they also cultivate a deeper understanding of self and lasting inner peace. In the teachings of Marcus Aurelius, we find not only a guide to overcoming adversity, but a philosophy of life that transcends time. He shows us that the real battle is in conquering our own mind, in the ability to face challenges with serenity and wisdom. By applying their Stoic strategies, we not only avoid unnecessary conflict, but we turn every challenge into an opportunity for personal growth. So may we move forward with the conviction that true strength lies in virtue, understanding, and self-discipline. By integrating these principles into our lives, we not only defeat our external enemies, but we also cultivate an inner peace that makes us truly invincible. Therefore, may the teachings of Marcus Aurelius continue to inspire us, guiding us on our journey towards personal fulfillment and peace of mind. May we learn from him the art of living well, facing each challenge with courage and Stoic wisdom.